Marcie Michelle Free. Marcie Michelle Free, born Mark Edward Free on April 12, 1954, emerged as one of the most powerful and emotive voices in American rock music. Over the course of her career, she became widely known as the lead vocalist of iconic bands such as King Kobra, Signal, and Unruly Child. Her journey through rock's golden era in the 1980s and early 90s not only highlighted her extraordinary vocal range, but also showcased her resilience through personal transformation, industry struggles, and eventual artistic reunion. Free's story is one of musical passion, internal battles, and unwavering authenticity, right up until her death on October 24, 2025. At the time of her demise, Marcie Free has an estimated net worth of $2 million, which she accumulated from her career work. Marcie's musical aspirations began early, but it was at the age of 19, while she was living in Flint, Michigan, that she officially began performing professionally. Her voice, rich in power and emotion, allowed her to quickly stand out in the rock and arena music scene. In pursuit of bigger opportunities, she relocated to Las Vegas in 1975, a move that eventually led to her settling in Los Angeles by 1979. LA's thriving rock scene in the late 70s and early 80s became the perfect platform for her emerging career. Her major breakthrough came in 1983 when she met drummer Carmine Appice, who had recently been dismissed from Ozzy Osbourne's band. Appice was assembling a new project, initially intended as a solo act, but gradually transformed into a full band known as King Kobra. Recognizing Marcie's commanding stage presence and soaring vocal style, he recruited her as the lead singer. The band signed with Capitol Records in 1984 and released 2 albums, Ready to Strike and Thrill of a Lifetime. These records helped cement Free's reputation as a formidable frontwoman in the hard rock and glam metal sphere. However, seeking greater artistic freedom, she left the band in November 1986. In 1987, Free became part of a new venture organized by producer Peter McKeon alongside Eric Scott and songwriter Mark Baker, eventually joined by drummer Jan Uvina. The group evolved under the guidance of EMI executive Ron Fair, who suggested the name Signal after rejecting Free's earlier name proposals, including one she particularly liked, Unruly Child. In 1989, Signal released their only studio album, Loud and Clear. Despite the strength of the record, internal label decisions resulted in little promotion, leading to the band being dropped. Free left Signal in October 1990, marking another abrupt shift in her career. Later that same year, Free finally brought her earlier idea to life when she co-founded the band Unruly Child alongside guitarist Bruce Gowdy and keyboardist Guy Allison. Signed under Atlantic/Interscope Records, the band released their self-titled debut album in 1992, widely celebrated in the melodic rock and AOR, album-oriented rock community. In 1993, Marcie's voice reached cinematic audiences as she performed the theme song, To Be, the Best of the Best for the martial arts film Best of the Best 2. Around this time, she also released a solo album titled Long Way From Love, initially composed of demo recordings written by songwriting duo Judy The and Robin Randall. It gained underground popularity, particularly in Europe, and was reissued in 1998. Following the loss of Unruly Child's major record deal, the band attempted a comeback under the name 12-Pound Sledge. Though their efforts to secure another label fell short, the songs created during this phase later resurfaced on Free's 1995 solo album Tormented, released in Germany and Japan. The intensity of constant reinvention and industry frustrations took a toll, leading Marcie to step away from the music scene for several years. She moved back to Michigan to be closer to her family and spent time living a quieter, more private life away from the public eye. In terms of personal life, Free married Lori Richardson on June 24, 1989, though their relationship ended in divorce. In November 1993, Marcie publicly came out as a transgender woman, adopting the name Marcie Michelle Free. She later shared that she had experienced deep gender dysphoria throughout her life, describing her transition as a necessary choice that stood between life and death. She openly acknowledged that prior to transitioning, she suffered emotional turmoil and self-destructive thoughts, and believed that remaining as Mark would have ultimately cost her life. However, her transition came at a professional cost. The music industry, still highly conservative during the early 1990s, was not welcoming to transgender musicians. Marcie expressed that many individuals who once supported her distanced themselves after her transition, leading to a steep decline in opportunities and ultimately contributing to the pause in her career. During this hiatus, she worked outside of music, even taking on jobs such as a courier in Los Angeles. Despite the challenges, Free eventually found peace within herself. In later interviews, she shared that embracing her true identity allowed her to heal, and she eventually overcame alcoholism, achieving sobriety around 2008. She attributed her recovery to a renewed faith and what she described as a close relationship with God. The second act of her musical journey came with a reunion. In September 2009, Marcie reunited with Bruce Gowdy and Guy Allison under the Unruly Child name, signing with Frontiers Records. Their comeback album, Worlds Collide, released in 2010, marked a celebrated return to form. The band continued releasing music throughout the following decade, putting out albums such as Down the Rabbit Hole, 2014, Can't Go Home, 2017, Big Blue World, 2019, and Our Glass House, 2020, revitalizing her identity as an influential figure in melodic rock. Marcie Free's artistry was shaped by an eclectic mix of musical influences. She admired the emotional power of Aretha Franklin, whom she credited in several album liner notes. She also drew inspiration from bands and vocalists such as the Four Seasons, the Beatles, the Beach Boys, Grand Funk Railroad, Smokey Robinson, Led Zeppelin, and the soulful sounds of big band music. Her voice carried both the grit of hard rock and the emotional richness of classic soul, giving her performances depth and authenticity. Throughout her career, Free contributed vocals to numerous projects outside her main bands, collaborating with artists such as David Cassidy, Desmond Child, Julio Iglesias, Bobby Kimball, and Venus and Mars. Marcie Michelle Free passed away on October 24, 2025, leaving behind a legacy defined by vocal excellence, emotional truth, and profound courage. Her life stands not only as a chronicle of rock music's evolution, but also as an inspiring narrative of authenticity and perseverance. She remains remembered not just as a voice of power and range, but as an artist who refused to live a life that wasn't truly her own. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.